And we're live. What's going on, D-Bags? We're back here again with another episode of I Want to Rip My Head Off because of technical difficulties. Not hopefully that wasn't too graphic for you, but I do want to do it. Welcome back to the Detox Podcast, guys. I'm your host, Darren Rita. Hope you guys are doing well for real. And if you're doing well, or if you're not doing well, feel free to connect with me at any of the links down below. I want to say hi. Make sure you're doing all right. We're trying to hit 700 subs, too, by the end of this month. I don't know if we could do it. You guys will have to be the judge of that. But if you're new here and you do enjoy music, podcasts, or comedy, do consider subscribing. And with all that out of the way, I got to talk to you guys a little bit about car insurance. These days, it seems as if we're able to do more and more from home. So while you're at home, why aren't you saving money on your car insurance? Your hometown agency, Kenosha Auto Insurance, has specialized for years in simple, hassle-free car insurance using the latest and touch-free technology to help you and your family get the best rates. So what are you waiting for? Give them a call today at 262-448-4141. That is 448-4141. And the website is kenoshains.com. It should be on the screen right now. One last time, that's 262-448-4141. Kenosha Auto Insurance. Give them a call. Tell them D. Rita sent you, Detox, and they'll set you up, I promise. Now that we got all that stuff done and out of the way, I am super pumped to reintroduce you guys a guest on the podcast this week. She's been on the show. This will be her third time, if I'm counting correctly, and she was even nominated for one of our awards at our year-end show last year. She runs the Midwest Instagram and YouTube channel. And she is also here to just kick it with us and talk mental health. So let's give a wet detox welcome to Taylor Hageman, a.k.a. Midwest Depressed. How are you?
I'm good. You just said wet, and I'm like dying over here.
Yeah, that's the new signature there.
That's gross. By the way, I was nominated for 2 awards at your award show.
Was it 2? Which 2 were you nominated?
It was most chaotic because you guys said that I was giving you too many cliffhangers.
Oh, yes. And then the
putting makeup on Tim.
The makeup one is what I was remembering and referring to.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad that's the one that you were thinking of because that one was very iconic. And I was really pissed I didn't win. I don't know who won.
I think it was... wasn't it like Jake's surprise appearance? I think it was Jake's surprise appearance or something.
It might have been, but you want to know what? I think the reason also maybe why I didn't get voted in is because I literally know like nobody else that you know.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know me. They don't know who I am. I think when I was there.
Well, they know who you are. They don't know you personally. You've been on the show. They've seen your face.
Yeah. Okay. Well, true. But like when I was there for the show, I was kind of like myself sitting in the corner because all the people that I knew they were a part of the show, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm just sitting in the corner. I think I sat by your mom.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, I don't know if we're gonna be doing something similar this year or not, but if we do, hopefully there'll be a little bit more chance for some mingling and whatnot. But I wanted to say first off, before we get into the podcast, congrats on getting published. You've been published now a couple of times.
I have been published twice, and I actually got the notification today that 2 more of my stories are getting published sometime this month.
Okay, first off, that's incredible. Now, so our audience can understand those that aren't familiar with you. What is it that you do, and what is it that just got published?
So I write a mental health blog called Midwest Depressed. It originally started off as Tay Hageman blog because I had no idea how to name anything. Mm-hmm. And then eventually I made the Midwest Depressed YouTube channel and podcast. And then I just decided one day I was going to migrate everything together. So now it is just one big brand called Midwest Depressed. And I talk about mental health, and domestic violence issues, women's rights stuff. I really just kind of talk about whatever I want to talk about. But that's the good thing about having your own platform, though, is you can talk about literally whatever you want to talk about. So. That's
very true. And so I know you talk about those sort of things. So to give people a little bit more perspective, you more specifically, you write stories either of your own experience or about general topics, correct?
Mostly it is about my own experiences with mental health and other repercussions of mental health. I have done some advice column things, which I swore when I did this blog I was never going to do.
I know. We talked about it the first time you were on, I think.
I think we did. It was either that or the second time that I was on, when we were like, and maybe it was both times, because I swear to God, I was talking to you about how I said I was never going to write something for advice.
Yeah.
But when I do write something for advice, it is just kind of also solely on my own experiences as well. So I give the tips that worked best for me.
Yeah, which is all you can do, really. You know, you're not,
Yeah.
especially when you're not, when I think you mentioned this when we had you on the show before, but it makes it tough to give advice when you're not like certified to do so, you know?
Exactly, exactly. Everything is just solely based on my opinion, my experiences, and my feelings. So I am not certified in any way, shape, or form to be a mental health like therapist, counselor. I am not certified to be like a peer supporter in any way. So I'm always happy to chat with people about what's going on with their life. I really am.
Yeah.
Like, be somebody who is there for you, because when you're feeling depressed, suicidal, even all this kind of stuff that's going on in your head, you really feel alone, and I don't want anybody to feel alone. So I'm more than happy to talk to anybody about anything that's going on. But you're not gonna, like, nothing, you're not gonna get diagnosed with something from me.
Yeah, yeah, it's good to make that distinction. Now, you may not be certified, but you are now, as of recently, a published, would you consider it an author? What I mean, it's an author of a column, right? A couple of
I mean, I would say I'm a published contributor on a website. That's what
Okay.
I would say.
So,
Yeah.
what website was the first
Okay.
site to publish you, and what did they publish?
So right now it's all the same site that is on. It's called The Mighty. It's actually kind of like a Facebook for mental health. It's really cool. I knew nothing about it until one of my other blogging friends posted about it. And I'm like, how did you get published like that? And she said, make an account on The Mighty, go submit a story, and they'll review it. And if they like it, they're going to publish it. And there are so many other opportunities for it to get published on like some of their like partner sites, like Yahoo and Huffington Post, I think,
Oh,
all that
okay.
kind of. Yeah, so there's opportunities to do that. So if like Yahoo or the other one, if they liked my story, then they could put it on their site too, if they
Very cool.
wanted to.
So,
Um,
so it's like
the
a bridge sort of deal. It can help you get other opportunities as well.
Yeah, but it still really gets you a lot of views. I mean, I haven't really been posting on my blog that much. I just went and checked the analytics a few days ago, because I did post a new story not too long ago. And I saw that I was still getting a bunch of views for not posting anything. And I'm like, well, how are people finding me?
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized, I'm like, oh my God, it's The Mighty.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense. So in getting published, then what specific story or submission that you had sent in, which one got picked up first?
So the first one that got picked actually was a story that I wrote back in May of last year. Last year I did 2 posts for Mental Health Month, and the one that got published was the repercussions of living in another dimension. So actually, what that was, when I compared being like gaslighted and manipulated into living in the Twilight Zone.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Very
so
cool.
I was really proud of that one, because that was like an original idea that I had that apparently 102 people resonated with, because I got like 102 likes on the website.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, so I mean, it was pretty cool. I had to explain what like gaslighting is, and all that kind of stuff, and I didn't really realize that, yeah, it was kind of like living in the Twilight Zone, until I read back and I'm like, oh my God, what was I putting myself into?
What is gaslighting for those that don't know? I think we might have no, we talked about more narcissism, I think, last time you were on.
It can go along in the same.
Well, I'd say, yeah, narcissists usually enjoy gaslighting. That's
They
a
really do, actually.
pastime of theirs.
And I do want to let people know, by the way, that I am not a narcissist. I have recently been called a narcissist, actually, and I got screened by my therapist and was told that I am not a narcissist. So, hey, fun fact.
I will throw this out there. I don't think any narcissist would say that they're a narcissist. So
But the thing is, though, is that when I got called a narcissist, actually, like, I'm sorry, this is so off topic because you asked what gaslighting is, and I'm actually trying to find the definition for you in my story.
Oh, gotcha,
Um,
gotcha.
but the reason, like, a little backstory here, because we always talk about narcissism. It seems like when I got called a narcissist, I honestly, I told my therapist, and I said, I don't think I'm a narcissist, and she said, well, answer some questions for
I
me,
was
and
gonna
I
say, holy shit, that pause you just gave me was a little concerning. That I didn't like that. If that's how she actually delivered that,
that was that was my
it's a little scary.
My therapist is not one to BS with me, and I
Mm-hmm.
absolutely love her for it. She will tell me if I called my ex an alcoholic, and she said, Taylor, that was not right of you to do. Just because he drinks to drink or just because he has a drink does not mean that you call him an alcoholic. And I said, you're right. I apologize to him anyways, but like, she will call me out on my shit.
Which is good.
So
That's good. That's a good therapist.
yeah, and so when she said that, I could be a narcissist, and I said, well, I want to figure out. I want to know if I am. So that's the only way that you can really that's the only way that you can really tell if you are a narcissist. If you think something's wrong and you go and actually go and take care of it. Same with any other mental health condition. You can't figure out if you're a narcissist unless you actually feel like something's going on or notice a difference in the way that you're acting and then go and get like screened, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so gaslighting is a form of emotional abuse. It's often seen like abusive relationships. It's the act of manipulating a person by forcing them to question their thoughts, memories, and events occurring around them. So kind of like questioning their own sanity in a
Yeah,
way.
it's sort of, to put it in layman's terms,
Mhm.
gaslighting is essentially, if like I experienced the same event as somebody else, and now, however long after that person in an attempt to manipulate me,
Mhm.
is essentially rewriting history, making me be like, wait, what did that? Oh, it happened that way, or just, and they're doing it with the intent of lying, you know?
Basically saying that didn't happen.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. Taylor, that didn't happen. You're crazy. You're psychotic. That didn't happen. You're just making that up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what? Am
Yeah.
I?
Yeah. Well, and you know what's crazy about like gaslighting in general? It's so tricky because like there are, I'm sure there are instances where like someone will say something and maybe they are just truly remembering it wrong and the
Mhm.
other person will correct them. And I know it's hard to draw distinctions from that, but there's a lot of examples even in like pop culture, I'd say, where you have things with like the Epstein stuff, where like that shit was like, I think people were reporting stuff with him being creepy, or Woody Allen and all these guys, like
Woody Allen's
months.
gross.
Yeah, they were like reporting shit about these guys like years before it happened, and people were like, "Oh no, she's a clout chaser, or she's whatever, like she wants whatever," and then obviously he and the perpetrators are also adding on to this by saying, this is not that's not what happened, like they're victim blaming, I guess you could say.
Victim shaming does so much harm for so many people. You have no idea how much harm just like victim shaming can do. Like it I have been on the other end of victim shaming, and it only happened like once, and some girl commented on my one of my Instagram posts and said that I was psychotic. Turns out this girl was friends with my ex, so of course they're going to be victim shaming me, and it shook me to the core.
Mm-hmm.
I was shaking, physically shaking, because no, and then like I think a few minutes later I messaged her on Facebook and I said, dude, you can't just do that. And she was
Mm-hmm.
like, until you have proof, I'm not gonna take down, because she made a long Facebook post about me. I'm not gonna take down my Facebook post because there's no proof that he did this to you and that you're still talking to him. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It's
I
just
mean,
crazy.
that is very, yeah, that's bizarre to want to just have that confrontation. Like, I don't know what she was seeking
Right?
to gain from that, but yeah,
Don't
it's
know.
interesting. I say that too because I'm actually working on a video right now about this whole. I don't know if you follow David Dobrik at all.
No.
He basically is under a little bit of fire. I shouldn't say a little, a lot, because of some pranks that he did a long time ago. And
I heard about that on TikTok. Oh my God. Yeah.
yeah, and I've been following it. I'm giving vague because I have like a pretty in-depth video that I'm going to be doing about it, because I was a big,
Okay.
I hesitate to say I am. I really don't know where I stand, but I followed a lot of David's stuff. And I
Okay.
follow very heavily. It's probably my favorite podcast is the H3 podcast. And they're the ones that kind of, that podcast, which is hosted by Ethan Klein and Ela Klein. And then Ethan's other podcast with Trisha Paytas, Frenemies podcast, have been the ones like really covering it. And they had the people that, David has allegedly hurt on the show and stuff like that. And there was just there's been a lot of victim blaming and shaming going on, which it's really, really sad to see, for sure, especially when in his case, you mentioned that the girl that was coming after you was like, oh, provide proof, blah, 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 blah. Especially even in this case, like the proof was on social media several years ago. People still have access to the footage, like, so it's very bizarre when people are coming out to try and do these things pretending that this video doesn't exist that contradicts what they're saying. But I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. I don't want to go too in depth there because I have a big video going on that I'm trying to do about that whole situation.
I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, it's a big deal, and I don't know how I feel about it yet. I haven't finished gathering my thoughts yet on the whole situation, but
I feel.
But on topic of you getting published and whatnot, how does like it feel to even just get that recognition from a community? This is like what you want to do. That would be like me getting placed on a local like rap blog or a podcast, something, like that's got to be a big deal for you, I'd imagine.
It was a big deal for me. I mean, the first one was a huge deal for me, and I shared it on Facebook, and I wanted my family to see it, and it was a huge deal. My ex shared it, and then shit just kind of hit the fan with me lately, and nothing's a big deal anymore. But I was really excited. I was so happy. And the people who are my biggest fans, like Maria, and like Maria also runs a blog.
Shout out Maria.
I love Maria. She's absolutely amazing. Such a huge inspiration for me. And she commented, like other people commented, like, congrats, so cool. But still, like something just wasn't, I don't know, just something didn't feel good about it at the same time, if that makes sense.
Interesting. Why is that? What didn't feel good about it? Was it stuff you were dealing with outside of it, like you mentioned?
I mean, in the last week and a half, I've been dealing with a huge problem. I mean, a huge breakup, basically, and it's rocked me. It's rocked everything that I've done. And before that, though, I mean, I've always strived to get some type of recognition from my family, and I don't know why. I've wanted recognition for my work.
Just some validation. I understand.
Some validation from the people who act like they support me, but they don't. I hate using this as an example because I love my sister, but my sister is a, #1 in the nation water skier, won nationals how many times, she gets so many likes, comments on things, and no offense to my sister, because she's an athlete. She's a professional athlete. So I get it, but she is doing something that's just tricks and
well, you don't get it. I get what you're saying. I don't want you to diminish what she's doing. It's very
no, exactly. Like that's the thing. Yeah. Like I don't want to, because
but it makes you. I get what you're saying. I know
it's jealousy. It's jealousy, and then I have a horrible, horrible time with jealousy.
Yeah,
I get jealous of everything.
I understand. I've definitely I've had some similar thoughts run through my head with situations, and I know how it can be. It can be tough when you feel like you're putting everything into it. You're putting everything into this. You're putting in the hours. You're putting in the work, whatnot. You're being extremely vulnerable in these posts and whatnot. In the same way that, she is working very hard on what she's doing and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it just, I understand that when people are in your circle, whether that's family, friends, whatever, people that just know you, you'd hope that they would support it. But this is something that I've had to really, really focus on and be okay with and kind of accept, is that a lot of people won't, a lot of people that are close to you. And this isn't saying, I'm very fortunate where my family does support what I do. But it's also this thing of like, my mom's not playing my song 24, my songs 24/7. And to be quite frank, like to be quite honest, I don't want a stadium full of my mom one day. I don't want only my mom, my dad, and my family to be there, So it's like you really got to think of it in that aspect, because I know I had conversations with Big Ty a couple weeks ago. He was on the show, and before that, we were getting ready for his project. And without getting too deep into his personal stuff, he was also explaining some things where like friends of his or family members or whatever, people that you think would really just kind of have your back. They definitely do. If something bad would happen, they're not the biggest cheerleaders as we would think they would be. And I've been trying to work on accepting that. And I hope that you can also, because it's hard, and then you get frustrated, and then you get jealous, and then you start diminishing what other people are doing. It's not healthy. I've done it. It's not good.
Yeah. I lost my biggest cheerleader. Like, I'm not trying to be down, but I lost my biggest cheerleader, and it sucks. I mean, I feel like this past week and a half, I have just felt like completely alone, and it sucks. Do you ever feel that way? Like, it just sucks.
Yeah, no, I understand.
There's been no support for anything. I mean, nothing. I mean, that's just how I feel. That's just how I feel, though. I mean, support is really liking a post or commenting on it. Really, it is. That is showing support. It's just... Mm-hmm. I don't, sometimes maybe it doesn't feel like it's good enough. And I hate saying that, but, being fully, completely honest with, things, that's just how it feels sometimes.
No, I get it. I don't want you to, I'm not trying to say what you're feeling is incorrect at all.
No, I don't think that at all. No.
I just want you to know, you're not alone in those thoughts. I've definitely had those thoughts. I still get those thoughts. But I will say, doing what you are happy to be doing, what you're proud of doing, those are that's what's important, If the post you make tomorrow is something that you are absolutely the most proud of, it's better than the last post you did. It's and even if only one person thinks that, that's all that matters. And I get lost in it too, especially when the numbers game, I'm plugging subscribe right before we start the show. I'm like, yo, let's get to 700. You have those, but we're obviously trying to grow, but you have to really be thankful for what you do have, and thankful that you're willing to keep going. Cause that's like the biggest thing, is that, yeah, maybe no one's in your corner right now, but if you're going to continue going, and I know in your case, you're not doing it to be like your full-time job right now, but like for anybody who's aspiring to create anything or release anything in the world, you can't get down on yourself because you don't have some sort of statistic, or you think like, man, my friends say they support me, but then they don't even stream my song, or they don't even like my post or reshare this thing and whatever. And I will say this, I definitely get like that, probably too much. Like, I probably shouldn't do it as much as I do, but I will say this, we all have our own things going on, and I try and give people the benefit of the doubt as of late, because I was in a very dark place. Like what you're describing right now is like scratching the surface of how bad I was a while ago. So
if I could get into how I feel right now, I would,
Yeah, I get it. I know the whole, you mentioned like the whole breakup thing, and that's got to be tough. So we don't got to get into that right now.
No, it's okay. I mean, honestly, breakups suck and everything like that. And we were engaged and all that kind of stuff, and it sucks, but it's a part of life, and we just got to move on. I mean, I just want both of us to be happy, and if he's not happy with me and I'm not happy with him, what's going on? That's,
I understand that absolutely.
Let's leave it at that. We don't want to get me crying now.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We don't want to do that. But so we've got some comments. What's here? Steve said, "Oh, and that's on gang." Oh, I think he was referring to what my little monologue I just went off on. And then McKenna Stanek said that is very exciting, and I think you were referring to when we were mentioning how she got published. So getting back to that, what has been?
Shout out to McKenna for being one of my most active Instagram followers, by the way. She likes everything of mine.
shout out McKenna for being supportive AF.
Yeah.
Now, what has been like the coolest benefit, I guess, other than you said you hadn't posted in a while and people were still interacting with your stuff from this post, but what has been like the coolest like little bonus of getting published by this, other than getting the validation that, you know, we as creators so desire?
I don't know.
You don't
know? To be honest, I don't know. That was about it. I mean, and I'm just, you know, I haven't even thought about my brand basically in a week and a half.
I get it. You know, things.
I haven't. And I'm not trying to be a downer. It's like it's the weirdest thing. It's just like, it's not even just a breakup, you know, because now I have this breakup. I have these feelings. I can start getting some content out there. For the past 6 months, when I was in a relationship and engaged and all this fun stuff, I was happy. And you want to know what is really hard to write about when you're happy is depression.
Yeah.
And mental health and all this kind of stuff. I mean, yeah, you can write an Instagram post and say, hey, I'm depressed today. And hey, I have anxiety. My anxiety is making me really sick. When you're sitting down and you're trying to write out a whole blog post, like about like a specific topic, I didn't do that basically for like 6 months. And like there were a few in between, but you know, like it just comes in waves. Like I do this as a hobby. I don't do it as a job. So really I can dictate my schedule and post whatever I want to post. The only thing that I am really, really, really consistent on is Instagram.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Do you think, so what you're kind of describing is something that I feel like certain musicians also struggle with as well when they get into a certain lane of kind of that depressive music that sells really well. And you kind of just described that it was hard to write about mental health stuff or related topics when you were happier.
Yeah.
Which sounds to me like a toxic relationship with your content creation almost, if I'm being honest. I don't want you to be, I would rather you be happy and not ever make anything again than you be like suffering and creating the best content in the world, if that makes sense.
I mean, I'm not suffering. I mean,
but
actually,
I mean, that was like the exaggeration. Yeah. But I mean, like in general, if you have to be in a worse state of mind or
I don't have to be, but it was just so hard. I mean,
I feel like you're not giving yourself enough credit, though. I think you could definitely write, especially with mental health, is so. It's like a blanket fucking thing. Like you can cover anything. You could cover how you're feeling better now, and as opposed to what you felt before, and what the differences are. And you can talk about how anxiety doesn't just go away because you feel better, you know, like because you're happier and all these things. Like I don't want you to count yourself out. You still got content you can make even when you're feeling better. So don't like be, it almost sounded like you were like, oh, I'm ready to start making content again because I'm sad. I don't want you to be sad and then make more content. I'd rather you be all right or be good and then still be able to do content if you so choose to.
I'm all right. I'm good. You know, it was just for a really long time, I was distracted by the happiness that I felt. I was distracted by being in love with somebody, and I was, you know, I have a lot of issues anyways with my own mental health. I'm also trying to discover if I'm on like the autism spectrum. I'm discovering all this stuff about me that makes it kind of makes sense why sometimes I can't get content out there on time, or I cancel an interview because I'm really just not feeling it today. Or, you know, I can't get a blog post because I literally can't think and my mind is going a million miles a minute. There's a lot of stuff going on up here. And it's not just the fact that I was solely happy and in a relationship, but it was also just the fact that like, I just have a lot of shit going on up here that literally just makes me not think straight.
Yeah, I get that. And I know and that's the thing with mental health in general. It's very like multifaceted. It's not, you know, it's holistic. Everything affects everything, right? You know, it's a chain reaction type of deal. Duncan Marshall says, "How we doing?" Well, Duncan, we're talking about depression, man. So that's how we're doing right now. But no, you're talking about all this stuff going on in your head, and I know we talked a couple days ago when we were getting ready for this interview, that you have recently. You mentioned it earlier when you were talking to your therapist about seeing if you were a narcissist or whatever. But you've started therapy with a new therapist.
Actually, she's not really
she
that
was your
new.
old therapist that you went back to now, right?
Yeah, so she was my old therapist back when I was a teen, and I was seeing a different therapist for a while. My ex thought that it would be beneficial for me to get hospitalized at one point. And he said, you need to get hospitalized. And so I said, no, I'm not going to go put myself in a hospital. I'm going to go and talk to a therapist and see if I need to be put in a hospital. And so I went to a therapist at a different therapy office and all this kind of stuff. And I started talking about this situation that made my ex scared and made him think that I needed to go into a hospital. And my therapist said, no, you don't need to go into a hospital. If you go, check yourself into a hospital, they're gonna make you go home in 2 days. So that was kind of BS in a way for my ex to say that I just need to go get in a hospital. But after that, I felt comfortable seeing this other therapist at this different facility. And this therapist kept canceling on me when I really needed to go talk to a therapist the most. Like this was back in beginning of December when I started going back to therapy. Mm-hmm. And he canceled on me like 2 or 3 times. And I finally said, screw it. I'm not going around your schedule. I look forward to therapy every single week. I look forward to it. So I called my old therapist office and I said, hey, is so-and-so still counseling people? And they said yes. And they asked if she was taking new clients because she hasn't been taking new clients. And because I was technically an old client, she welcomed me back. And now I've been going there and just working on my shit.
Very cool. Very cool. I know I'm a big advocate for people going to therapy. I have yet to attend, and I think that it could do some good for me.
Oh yeah, I could. And I'm not saying that in a you're a fucked up way.
Oh yeah, it really could, dude.
Could.
It really could, dude. You're fucked up, bro. I feel you.
My 7-year-old sister saw that my 9-year-old sister was going to therapy, and my 7-year-old sister told my mom and stepdad, I want to go. Mm-hmm. I want to go to therapy. So now my little sister who's 7 and who's just crazy going off the walls, who hasn't really maybe nothing wrong with her, she goes and talks to a counselor just because she wanted to. Yeah. My mom told me this yesterday.
I think that's awesome. I mean, I really think I really truly mean it when I think everybody should. I think I definitely should make time for it. I just haven't yet. So it's do as I say, not as I do right now from my
made that same excuse. I don't have time. But I did have an incident where I needed to go, and I'm glad that I went, and I'm glad that I made the
it's the same thing. It's the same thing as working out, right? Everyone's like, oh, I don't got time to work out. I'm the same way right now. Like, it's really hard for me to find time to work out. But the second I do, and you start getting it, like, everybody can make time for it if it's important to you, and everybody should make time for therapy. I need to call the therapist right now. Let's go. No, I'm just kidding. But everybody should. And I really think if you guys have, even if you don't have any issues, like you just said, like, everybody should just to see what it's about. It's only going to help you. It's not going to hurt you. You know what I'm saying?
Everyone has issues that they need to work out. So
that's true.
Going to therapy is not a bad thing. And if you have issues with anything, who else is better to help you than somebody who's licensed and trained to do so?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Now, speaking of non-licensed people, as you mentioned yourself, obviously not being licensed earlier, but you're still running a very interesting and intriguing blog. And you mentioned earlier the blogging community. What has been your experience in the mental health blogging community?
Everybody in the mental health blogging community is so supportive of each other. There has been, besides the one incident of someone victim shaming me, I have not had one negative comment, except for one person who said that, like, because I posted this huge thing about like abortion rights. Mm-hmm. She was like, well, you chose to get pregnant. That baby didn't choose to die. And I'm like, listen here, honey.
Oh man,
And that was about it.
that could get
But
pretty heated. Well, at least you haven't had too much hate. I've only had some death threats, so it's at least you didn't have any of that. And I just do entertainment. I don't even talk about anything quite as serious as that.
I've
So.
had someone tell me that they're going to kill themselves at that. Because that,
I mean, it's not a competition, but I do hope that they got help and that they are okay. That is very.
it was
very
my
serious.
ex-boyfriend.
Okay, so that is also.
He's fine. I
hope
think.
he's good.
I
hope
don't
he's
know.
good.
It's not the most recent one, but the one before that. I think he's good. I don't know.
I mean, gosh.
Don't shout
yeah.
out him. You made me block him on your podcast.
I know. I was gonna do the David Guetta shout out to his family meme because that shit cracks me up, but we don't have it as a soundbite. We need to get it as a soundbite. Whiskey Man says, "Hey yo, what's up, man? How are you?" Okay, so in your instance, or in your experience, the blogging community has been very supportive, though. You say. So that's cool. That's very cool. I know. I think I honestly am envious almost of that community in the way that they actually are a community, because the like musicians, at least in my experience and I've been trying to get further online and talk with people, and I've been meeting some people, don't get me wrong, that are really cool.
Yeah.
That I just started talking to a couple of guys the past couple of days that are really cool. But previously, before that, it's a lot of people leaving you on red, especially even when it's not musicians, when I'm trying to just book people that are like YouTubers or influencers and not even super big. I'm talking like 10,000 followers. Like that's not that big of a stretch from where we're at, and these people will just leave you on red, or they'll give you the runaround and all these other bullshit. So I'm happy to hear that it's not like that in the blogging community. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you're a blogger and you're friends with Taylor, or you're a fan of Midwest Depressed, let's get you on the show. Let's hang out.
Dude, I'm working on it for you, actually. I got some people who I'm thinking are going to be some good assets to you on the show. So I just got to I've actually been ignoring one person because I just have not been feeling it today. I worked and then drove home in a snowstorm and then had to do this. So I'm like,
I get that. I'll tell you this. I get weird sometimes with when I have people wanting, because it's tough. It's a balancing act of, I always want to bring new people on the show, new guests that are going to be interesting and going to provide different perspectives from mine, hopefully, and my goal is to provide value to my audience in some sort of entertaining way, preferably comedic, but it goes in different directions. And it is tough when I have some people that really, really badly want to be on the show, but don't have any reason to be on the show. Like they just really want like 15 seconds of fame, or like they'll be like, "Hey man, we should do a podcast." I'm like, "Yeah, man, I'm always down." Or if it's a girl, "Yeah, dog, like I'm always down. Like let's do it. Let's do it, And then I'm like, "Well, what were some things you want to talk about?" Because I don't usually know them that well. They just know who I am. And then they're like, "Well, you could just ask me some questions." What the fuck am I gonna?
What?
That's what I said. What the fuck am I gonna ask you questions about? I don't know who the fuck you are.
I kind of feel like that's how it was when I first messaged you and was like, "Hey, I want to be on the show," but I also at that point kind of just started doing.
Well, that gave us
Tay Hegeman blog.
Yes.
So.
See, that gave us something to talk about. That was big for that. Simple Man Fishing. I think must be behind in the show. I don't know if we were talking
Gaslighting happens in Gaslight City.
It's a reference to one of my lyrics. So shout out to my dad. He will still be at the show. When we do the stadiums, like I was referencing earlier, it will be he'll still be there. It just won't be only my family, hopefully.
Sure.
But I forget what was I just rambling on about? Oh, people trying to be on the show that don't have anything. And I feel terrible because it's like I still wanted to do something for them, which I think is just me being a little bit of a people pleaser. I still want them to enjoy the show and still watch the show and like the show. Mm-hmm. And usually the case is that they don't actually watch the show and that they don't really follow it. They just want that 15 seconds of fame, which is like, if that's what you're looking for, this isn't really it. Like, we're not pushing those kind of numbers where it's like you're going to be famous for 15 seconds if you get on here. You're not. So I guess a word of the wise to anybody looking to be on the show. I'm down to have you on, whoever you are, as long as we got something to talk about.
Same here, though. I'm looking for people on my show too. I have one, but I'm not just having you on to have you on. Like that's just.
Especially yours is like more so centered around mental health. Like...
It kind of is. I do some interesting people stuff too. If you're just like in the blogging community, or I did have this. I had you on there. You were on there. That was your first interview. I did that, guys. That was me.
That
was me. But anyways, yeah, so I actually have like one of my favorite people to interview is my friend Chris, who is an evangelical Christian, and we are two completely opposite people, but the reason why I like talking to him is because he's knowledgeable. I learn a lot from him, and he gets me thinking. That's about it. I mean, we don't agree on many, many, many things, but still, he's just an awesome person, and his 2 interviews I've done with him are just my favorite.
Yeah, I mean, they got to be good, especially if it's intriguing you. That's important. Whiskey Man says, bruh, I bet I got you to get Michael on, and he ain't even an influencer. It's very true, and I was very thankful for that. I hadn't got to talk with him in a while, and him and I talked about everything from like World War. That was like back at the top of the 2020, and we were talking like about World War III possibly happening because that was a meme.
Oh yeah,
I remember that. We talked about him. I think he was working on. I think he still is. He does like bathroom and like flooring finishing and stuff like that. Really, really sweet guy. But yeah, so Whiskey Man, that's the thing, man. I love when people give me somebody that I could actually have a fun conversation with. But sometimes I get like people just like reach out and be like, you need to have me on. And I'm like, wait, why? Like, I want to if there's a reason, but I don't know you. Please tell me what the reason is I should have you on. So that's my piece on that. I wanted to talk, we talked a little bit before, a couple days ago, and you reminded me of your hatred for a famous person who just broke the internet. But I want to set this up real quick. So the person I'm referring to just happened to take down the entire royal family in the eyes of social media and whatnot, right? Oprah Winfrey had this bombshell interview that people are saying destroyed the royal family, exposed a lot of, racism and whatnot, and all these things. And my guest here tonight, that runs the Midwest Depressed blog and Instagram page, hates Oprah Winfrey. Why do you hate Oprah Winfrey?
Why would I hate Oprah Winfrey? Oh my God. Oprah Winfrey sucks. I'm so sorry.
Why does she suck? I mean, I love Oprah. Everybody loves Oprah.
So actually, this is really cool. I guess in a way, my mom actually used to work for Oprah Winfrey, and I am not lying. There are way, way, way better celebrities to flex about, honestly. Oprah, I don't know, man. I have a lot of issues with Oprah just solely for the fact that my whole childhood kind of didn't involve my parents, kind of, in a way. I mean, my parents were there, my parents were present, but my parents were pilots and flight attendants. So my mom would be gone for like 2 weeks at a time. Not really my mom's fault. I mean, it was her job, but that's basically the only reason why I really hate Oprah Winfrey. It's also, I think she's annoying and needy, and she's allergic to like a lot of things. And
okay, so like some like personal stuff with her because your mom was working closely with her. That makes sense.
Exactly. Like, I know things that I can personally say that I don't like Oprah Winfrey. I'm not just saying her because like, oh my God, she's on TV and she's annoying. Listen here, Oprah, my mom worked for you. Where the fuck is my car?
Oh my goodness.
I'm so sorry.
That's fair. I mean, I don't know if that's a good reason to hate Oprah. I mean, I think she's done a lot of good. I mean, it does suck if your mom was, away for a long time because she had to be working.
She's done a lot of good, but she's also like not done a lot of good at the same time. I mean, she's just a celebrity, I mean,
she's a celebrity. It gives a lot of people a lot of
I can't give out too much information because when I told my mom that I talked about Oprah like the last time that I was on the show, she got so mad at me. However, I'm not the one that signed that piece of paper that says that I can't talk about certain things. However,
that's true. I guess that
I am exempt from that. So what do you want to know? I don't know. It's
I
just,
I mean, I don't need to know any specific details. I just thought it
oh,
was
I'm kidding.
interesting. I think.
Yeah, no, I mean, the the good thing about Oprah was that, yeah, she did give us a good life in a way because she paid my mom. My dad also had a good job, not for Oprah, but still. So like I had a pretty good life
Mhm.
growing up. My mom got to experience some cool things that literally probably nobody else in the world is going to experience. So I guess that's also really cool. My mom has gotten to meet a lot of cool people. She got to meet Nelson Mandela.
That's very cool. Very
I
cool.
was when I was born, she was at Dr. Phil's house having dinner with Dr. Phil because I'm adopted, so that was they got yeah, so they
That's
got the
crazy.
call while she was at Dr. Phil's house having dinner with Dr. Phil,
Dr.
which I
Phil's
hate
been
Dr. Phil too,
he's
by the
been
way.
yeah, he's been getting exposed for a lot of stuff recently.
Well,
But
Dr. Phil is fucking stupid. You want to know why Dr. Phil is fucking stupid?
why is Dr.
Because
Phil stupid?
first of all, he's not licensed to practice anymore, and his show is just solely based, just solely advice. Two, he embarrasses his guests all the time. He's just embarrassing them on live, well, not live too, on TV. And
Yeah.
basically also he's finding these people just to make for entertainment purposes, but then when he tries to like help people, like help kids, he
Mhm.
sends them to a ranch, and that ranch is part of the troubled teen industry, and the troubled teen industry is fucking garbage, man.
Send him to the ranch. I love that.
It's garbage. The troubled teen industry is absolutely disgusting, and I am so glad that my parents did not think that I was a troubled teen with the way that my mental health was to send me to the ranch or send me to like wilderness therapy or send me to like a troubled teen boarding school. So Dr. Phil also, his ranch, he supports abuse, basically child abuse.
You
In a
think that?
way.
Oh, you think that's child interesting? I
No,
don't.
it is. I mean, I follow a lot of. Came across this TikTok account, and the TikTok account was about how this girl was not like forcibly kidnapped, but her parents paid this company to come in and legally kidnap her in the middle of the night and take her to Utah and drop her off in the middle of the woods with a bunch of other people. And it's actually a real thing. It's called wilderness therapy. And it's kind of like, I don't know if it's like camp or whatever. I have no idea. And these kids are doing like therapy stuff, like hiking and all this kind of stuff out in the woods.
That's sick, dude.
It's not cool.
I'm just kidding.
Now, Dr. Phil's ranch isn't like that, but I don't think it's actually Dr. Phil's ranch, but he sends them to somewhere where they think that they're getting help, like a boarding school in a way. But the boarding school is actually more like child abuse, where the punishment for kids will be like, oh, you can't stand within 10 feet of other kids and you can't talk to anybody. You can't look at anybody. They try to get you in trouble in a way too, like some of these counselors and therapists, because a lot of the times kids are actually doing what they're told and they're progressing. Mm-hmm. And then, they just try to find something nitpicky and then they'll send them into the basement for 3 days and they can't talk to anybody else.
Interesting. No, I can't, obviously I can't confirm or deny any of that. I haven't done any research on it, but I do think that's interesting that you've looked into it and whatnot. And I just think I've always kind of had an issue with the way the show is set up, where it's like very much performative, like you're very much putting people, kind of exploiting them for it. But I do get it. Like my trade-off, at least how I like tried to like justify it in my head, was like, well, he's at least helping them. And then as more people have come out and said that like they don't really get a whole lot of help, the whole ranch thing has just become like a meme at this point to me and the podcasts that I watch and stuff. I
don't know. It's just I'm not for abuse, so I just I'm
not for abuse either. So
no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying this whole like ranch thing, all this stuff. I'm just not for abuse of any kind. So if you're affiliated with anything having to do with that, I don't like you.
That's fair. That's fair. Barry, that's a reasonable take on that.
Okay.
Whiskey Man says, "Oh, I get it. So the dudes that ask to be on gotta have to have something to bring to the podcast compared to referring cool people to talk to?" Question mark.
No. I think he's just saying, "Oh, these people got to bring something to the party."
It sounds like he's got a question. He's got a question. So I think he's asking like because the guy he was mentioning, he referred me to have him on, and it ended
Didn't
up.
you say he was cool? So
Yeah, it was a very good conversation. So I don't know if you're thinking that I'm talking about him, but absolutely not, man.
I mean,
No,
as
it's
long
just
as a person is cool, can talk about something, maybe they have a cool story, you
well,
know?
just as long as they can have a good conversation and
Yeah.
they can talk with, as long as I first off check the box number one, I gotta like you. If I don't like you in some capacity, right? Then we'd move to like number two, like, do you have something important to talk about? If you have something important to talk about, cool. Now if you don't have either of those, then it's like, okay, what do you have? So we have, okay, then it's maybe they have like this following that cares about them. And it's like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
at least we can talk about them and their following, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because eventually, especially when you have a podcast like this where it's like about everything and nothing, it can be tough when you just pull people on. For instance, I guess to maybe bring some more clarity so that Whiskey Man gets what I'm talking about is
Mm-hmm.
I've had people that are literally the only thing that I know about them is they added me on Snapchat because someone they knew was on the show. And
Mm-hmm.
then I looked them up, and the only thing that is relevant about them is that they were arrested for selling drugs. And I was like, okay, well, I don't know if we want to talk about that because his cases were still open. And so he kept asking me and asking me and asking me to be on. And I said, hey, man, like, I don't really know what we're going to talk about. So, like, he's like, well, we could talk about my cases and whatever when that's finished. I said, okay, maybe. And I said, why don't you fill out this thing? And I sent him to my website, and then yeah, he didn't end up going through with that. So that usually, I'm not gonna lie, that usually helps get some people that are less serious about it. 'Cause you
Yeah.
just don't want people. I've done it. There's one episode that has been deleted from my entire channel, only one, and it's because I had somebody come on who just wanted to be on for that 15 seconds of clout, and I fell for it. I was like, okay, this will be good, and then it was very bad. And I know Whiskey Man, I think he knows who I'm talking about. But yeah, so it ended up being a very bad situation, and I was really like disappointed in both that person and myself for even allowing them to be on my show. So
Mistakes happen. Don't beat yourself
absolutely.
up over
No, absolutely. But I just wanted to clarify that so he understood that it's not like
Mm-hmm.
it definitely wasn't anybody that you referred to me having on the show or anything like that. Whiskey Man. Whiskey Man's been a huge supporter of the show.
He subscribed to my channel not too long ago. He was my 100 subscribers. Shout out to you, man.
Oh, that's cool. I remember we were trying to get you to 100. That's awesome, man. Shout out.
I've
him.
lost like 4 subscribers in the past week, yo. I don't know what
But
I'm
have you
doing.
posted recently?
I know one of them was my ex-fiance blocking me. I don't think I have actually posted in that long.
Okay.
no.
Well, if you get,
I think it's been like it's been a week and a half since I posted something, but last week I get a bye week, and especially this week too because I'm going through something.
I got you. Yeah, posting, when you stop posting as much, it happens. Numbers fluctuate. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
I wanted to say thank you for you've been using the tunes in the intros to your excuse me, I'm having indigestion, into your podcasts. You've been using my music for it, and I just want to say I'm very appreciative of that. It's very cool, and I've given my music to other influencers who have literally asked for it, and then they didn't end up using it. So I'm very thankful and appreciative.
I know I asked for, or you know, you messaged me and said I could use it for like vlogs and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you sent it to me not too long ago. And then I recently started using it because, why not?
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, it was a thing where it's like, I just know a lot of people, a lot of creators, myself included, when we're doing videos, whether that's like podcasts or, because I know some people like intros to their podcast, or they're doing vlogs, even compilations. Like everybody, you need music, and it sucks sometimes having to use only stock, like free, royalty-free music. So I just like, I'm fortunate that I make music, so I can kind of pick and choose what I want to use of my own, and I figure why not give that to my friends and other creators that I enjoy. So
very honored to be able to use your music.
I'm honored that you use it, so I appreciate that. And you mentioned kind of that you haven't posted in a while. Are you going to be continuing this hiatus/break, or should anybody be expecting, any of the Detox listeners and viewers that have tuned in tonight, should they be expecting anything new in the near future, or should they be maybe waiting for a little bit?
I would say you're probably gonna be waiting for a little bit. Things are still really fresh, and I'm trying to work some things out. Just maybe not that long. We'll see what happens. I mean, I don't have any blog posts written out, but who knows? I wrote my last one that I just posted in about a day and a half. And because I was just thinking about it, I just posted it. And I also wanted it to get published on the site that I get published on. And I didn't know I didn't know if I could publish it on my own if it was already published on the site, So I decided to publish it on my blog first and then share it with the Mighty so that it could get published, and so that people could also go back to Midwest Depressed and see what we have to offer, which really isn't that much on my website. I mean, I pay for a website and I really don't use it that much.
Well, don't undersell yourself. People haven't seen it yet. Let them check it out. I'm sure.
The graphics are cool. I just updated a lot of things because my ex was supposed to be helping out a lot. He was gonna write some stuff, and honestly, that's not happening anymore. So I had to go through and edit the cover page. I had to take off anything having to do with him, basically. So I mean, now everything is, there's new pictures. That's about it. There's just new pictures. There is a new blog post up there. It's really heavy though, so if you don't want to read it, I can completely understand because it's really heavy, and it's just
Well, if you enjoy heavy blog posts, then that's what you should do.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. I think it's very admirable that you're willing to take a break and step back to get your mental health right. I know that would be it would be very hard for me to do something like that. So I try. I still
post on Instagram. If people want to follow me on Instagram, you guys are more than welcome to follow me. I just haven't posted in the last few days. I did just get some awesome pictures taken yesterday by a really cool new friend of mine. So I will post some. It's just been so hard. Yesterday and today especially have been absolutely some of the hardest 2 days of my in the last 6 months.
I get that. I totally understand that. So I think where should people follow you real quick?
It's Midwest Depressed blog on Instagram. There's dots in between Midwest Depressed and blog. So Midwest.depressed.blog. That's me.
Okay. Cool.
And then we also have Midwest Depressed on YouTube. You guys are more than welcome to go over there and subscribe. That's kind of always hit or miss too, but that's just because I interview people when I want to, and then I post it.
Very cool. Very cool. And there's interviews already up that they can go check out.
There are. Darren's is down there. A few months actually. It's down there, but there's a lot of stuff you can go check out. And it's not the best quality stuff, but it works for me. And it works
you
for everybody.
You gotta stop. Apologize. Everybody does.
I'm not apologizing. I'm just saying it's not professional because I do this as a hobby, and that is all I do it for.
And that's fine. That's absolutely okay.
Exactly.
I wanted, if there's one last thing you can leave the people of Detox with, whether it's just anything, parting words.
Parting words. Oh my God. I guess my parting words is just try to find happiness in yourself. Seek help where it needs to be, where you need help with, but find happiness in yourself, because if you don't find it, you're never going to be truly happy. And you need to be happy to have I don't want to say successful life, but just to have a fulfilled and enjoyable life. You just need to be happy and love yourself. Mm-hmm. So go ahead and do that before you do anything else.
Most definitely. Well, Taylor, I want to say thank you for being on the show. Guys, don't forget to go check out her stuff at Midwest Depressed. And I also want to say thank you to everybody who listened today. Thank you to those in the comments. I know we had Steve, McKenna, Duncan, Whiskey Man, Simple Man Fishing, all you guys. Thank you guys for commenting and being in the live chat. Shout out to everybody listening on Spotify the day after and whatnot if you're listening in the future. Also, big shout out to our patrons over on Patreon. They should be on the screen right now. Shout out to everybody who is subscribed over on Patreon. There's exclusive videos over there where I show exactly how I make my own songs that we were talking about earlier, that I was sort of thanking Taylor for kind of expressing and sharing over her stuff. I show the exclusive behind the scenes footage that's only available over there of how I mix and record all my songs. So big shout out to the people that are there. And if you want to become a patron, just go to patreon.com/DarrenRita. And with all of that out of the way, what else do I got to do here? Oh, thank you to Kenosha Auto Insurance. Can't miss those guys. Big shout out to the homies paying the bills, keeping the lights on. And yeah, just shout out to everybody who's listening and supporting me. It really means all the world to me. So I will see you guys next